All right. Good
How's everyone doing? Let me reposition this so it's a little. There we go.
Put it close to your mouth. Close to your mouth.
Put it in your mouth. Say your motherfucking mouth.
Anyway, so Sydney,
Hey.
Epic starts his stream before I do. I usually wait, while we're getting everything together. So there's not dead air time.
I'm a little premature, Sydney.
No, it's all good.
Just in the videos.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I don't get in grown folk business. You grown.
Just in the videos.
So, what's today's
Hey, kittens.
day? Good. What does it say? Good evening. Today is Wednesday, November 14th. I am Dominion.
And I am Epic.
And welcome to episode 39 of the BGK8 show with Dominion and Epic, exclusively on Vox Power 373. So, listen. So you can call in.
Please call in.
After about 20 minutes of us, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You can call in. The number is 240-719-2560. Again, 240-719-2560. So call in. We can talk about whatever it is you like. Now, if you say something foolish, we will cut it.
Well, yeah, because I'm not, listen, I'm
Right.
not here. Although I'm here for the shit,
I'm not here for the shit.
I'm not here for the shit. So I'm going to give it up to my good girlfriend on, I can't even think of her name right now, but she's a legend on the ballroom scene, who always says she's here for the shit. So I'm here for the shit as well.
Yes.
But
So what's the BGK? What does BGKH stand for?
so the B stands for black. You know, opposite of white,
Blike, as they would say
You
in
know.
Jacksonville. Blike.
African heritage. Something
Part of
along
the
those lines.
diaspora.
Something in that whole thing, you know. So
Okay.
that's what the B stands for.
The G.
The G is for the gays, honey.
The
all
gay-
of the gays.
all of the
All
gays.
of the gays. Get into all of the,
The
gays, honey. Get
gays.
into all this skin, honey, for the gays.
Touch the skin, darling.
Touch it all. Get into it.
What's the matter, Pedro? Are you going through some sort of a psychological change? Are you going back to being a man?
You got it's more venom.
Psychological change. A shout out to all of our friends come and gone. Anyway, so the K,
The K is for the kinky people.
kinky, yes.
The kinky
So I am getting it together for MAL. I'm pulling together my looks, pulling together what we're going to do for the show. We are going to
I got a couple
do a
questions for you, too.
performance.
Yes.
We got to do a performance. We have
So,
plenty of time. We got 2 months.
Listen, the Wet Pocketbooks will make an appearance
Yes.
at MAL. So, yes, I'm going to need folks to be in the house.
So Special K, Deviant, start pulling your looks together.
Right.
So we are going to turn it out.
Listen, and we've had several performances of your song, and we had to go ahead and do a couple different things, just Deviant and I. But again, you weren't there.
Oh, like at karaoke?
Yes. So we
Girl,
just,
that's-
it was very
I
impromptu.
got to get up early in the morning,
It was
so
listen,
I can't do no shit.
It
that
was
happened
very
on
impromptu.
Wednesday night.
It was very impromptu. But anyway, so we talk about all that. We talk about the
Yes.
K. So and the
so
H,
it's for all of the humans,
you folks,
y'all.
all of y'all.
So, how was your week? First of all, without showing the label,
Right.
because they are not paying us any money.
Right.
We want to thank Deviant for this.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something else on the bottom, but anyway.
Oh no, it's just
Okay.
just words. We want to thank Deviant for letting us know about
This particular brand of
white sangria. Ooh, it's
It doesn't really say it's a whole lot
that's
of
20.
alcohol.
Well, no, that's 20. That's you take this number, you double that. That's the proof. So that means this is
That's still only less than
27
28,
proof.
yeah.
I mean 13% alcohol. I mean it's not.
I mean, you're not gonna get toasted, but listen.
If
But
we
she's
drink
good
this whole
though.
bottle, we might be cute though. So anyway, so your week, the week that was.
So the week that was, had a few kinks in it, but it's been otherwise okay.
Not kink as in kinky.
No, not kink as in kinky, unfortunately. But then again,
One never knows.
yeah. And then it depends on how you define that.
Take your shirt off. Stay a while. Oh, your
It's
jacket.
my little jacket, but I mean, it's I don't want to,
Oh, okay.
it's-
You don't have your good girdle on.
No, listen. This dad bod is what it is. So I mean, it just
Ooh, wait a minute.
it does. It looks like damn.
No, your nipples.
Listen, they haven't been touched in a minute.
Oh.
They look huge.
Somebody touch me! Touch me, God damn it!
They look huge. Look at that. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, but the week was good. I mean, I've had some more family drama with my mom and that crap and some uncle stuff, and I'm really trying not to stay focused on that. But today was one of those days where I had to go out in the hallway. If any of you work in the office where there's a cubicle, you have to go out in the hallway, kind of say what the hell you want to say.
Right,
Because sometimes you just don't want to.
Be like, hello, who is this? Just give me 1 second.
I'm going outside in the hallway. That's exactly what I did.
First of all, do not call me on my job with this foolishness.
Right. So that it's one of those type of situations. And but other than that, it was good. I mean, work was good. I was very lazy yesterday because I didn't necessarily feel well. Just probably more so mental health, just to kind of lay down
So you
and do
didn't
nothing.
feel well.
No, just the mental health, like just mentally tired.
I got a
to
lot
kinda sit
going
down.
on. I don't need
Yeah,
that kind of foolishness in
and
my life.
just wanted to lay down and do nothing. But what I was able to do was again catch up on some more Walking Dead. So I'm now in season 4
Oh, good.
because the damn season 3 had 16 episodes. I was like, God damn it. But anyway,
I did the same thing year before last with Game of Thrones because my coworker convinced me to watch it. He was like, you gotta watch all of the other seasons before you watch this. So I binge watched seasons 1 through 6 so that I could be caught up by the time. Well, she had them all on DVD.
Okay.
So I was put in the DVD and just let the 10 episodes just go.
play it.
And it was good because then I felt like I was fresh with with everything that happened. So, and yes, and season 8, the 8th and final season is going to start in April.
So
I'm
I
excited
have time
about
to catch
that.
up with that. So that's
Yes.
next on my list.
Oh,
that
yeah,
and Sons of Anarchy and Mayans. I have a whole list. This list is like it's a long list, but Walking Dead is one of them. But it's 9 seasons of it. 8 of them are on Netflix, and then I got to watch the 9th season, which is currently on. So I'll probably be able to catch that on demand. But that's okay. But it's pretty good. I'm laughing because I got to work. I'm in the season. For those of you, spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't seen it and you're in season 4, there's something that's changing with the Walking Dead. Like it seems like the virus is mutating because it's a virus, whatever it is, and it's mutating. And there's a few things that's going on. So it seems like the survivors are catching a cough. And so once they start catching this cough, it's like a cold. And so I was at work today talking to somebody on the phone, and she was like, excuse me. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute. Something great go on. So I was a little thrown off, but you know, it was good. And so here's a little quotable notable. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to have messed around with somebody that somebody else knows or that was somebody else's ex. Mm-hmm. But when the somebody that you mess around is a coworker's ex, it's a little bit more awkward.
Why?
Because when you realize who the person is while you're at work sitting there talking about them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, to the ex.
Yes. And you're
He's like,
sitting
yeah,
there.
his dick got this curve in it and everything. He's like, that sound like Bob.
And literally, I was there with a coworker, and they were like, yeah. And we were both like, this.
Oh, this is awkward. Which coworker was it?
We're gonna leave that nameless because I
You
don't
already
have.
said it. You don't have but so many gay coworkers.
That's not necessarily true.
Oh, I've only met the 2.
Well, anyway.
So, sorry.
But what then happened, or the reason why I brought that up is because tonight I get a text message from them. Hey, how are you? And I'm like,
The coworker or
no,
the other one?
the ex. And I was like, fine, how are you? It was like, oh, good, just thought about you. And I was like, well, that was nice. Glad to be thought about. Left it alone. Like, I'm trying not to go down that road to say, like, look.
Right. Here's the thing.
Now, I really would do it or do it again or something, however you want to look at it.
Because you've already done it.
I mean, I'm just saying. But, it just wasn't quite, I don't think it's that nice to do it again. But anyway. What's up,
Hopefully
Peter?
they don't watch the show.
Well, if they do at this point, like I didn't say no name, so whoever it is, this could be several people because there's a crown.
Because once upon a time, not long ago,
I
he
was
was
a
a
hoe.
hoe. All right. Well, there we go. Good for you. You're not a hoe. You're hoe-ish.
Okay.
Sure. All right. So my week, you know what your uncle did? So your uncle calls me and says, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And whatever he calls, it's, like he wants something because he doesn't ever call unless he wants something or something was wrong or whatever. And I'm like, all right, what? So, me and I'm not going to say my cousin's name, trying to buy a house. I'm like, and I'm half listening, doing whatever. And then he says, so, we're a little short on the down payment. So you think you can lend me some money for the down payment? I'm like, I just spent $22,000 for a funeral. And now a funeral, I don't want to freak anybody out. The funeral itself was only, like they say, funerals cost about $10,000. The funeral was $9,000. Burial plots are expensive.
Yes, God.
So that was where the rest of the so it's $9,000 for the funeral and $13,000 for the burial plot.
Yes,
anyway,
God.
I made $22,000 happen from various sources of my own. I ain't borrowing no money, but I'm like, you gonna come to me and see? Here's my thing.
You still a little sore from the corner stroll? I just want to. I mean, okay. I mean, I'm here to support you. I'll give.
I just take Epsom salt baths.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Okay. All right.
But I'm like, sound like you need to get a. I didn't say any of this because I was only half listening at first, and then you know how you're not paying attention to a conversation, then you play it back in your mind. You're like, what? Did he just ask me for some money?
Like, what the fuck is you?
I was like, no, I do not have any money to lend. And he says, oh, well, I understand. He said, yeah, I get that. Yeah. And then he says, so your cousin told me about this thing called GoFundMe. So I'm going to create a GoFundMe and call it the building fund. And he said he know. He said he knows a couple of people that plays for the Washington Redskins. So they were going to see. He was going to see if he could get them to donate to the building fund. And I'm like, okay, well, good luck with that. Click.
So, to the congregation, I just want to make sure you all, there's a plate going around. Please donate to the building fund.
Right. I'm going to send you a GoFundMe for that. Because listen, I am always like this. Like, a friend of ours, and he has not made any qualms about this. One of our brothers who lives out west had a roommate who turned out to be completely batshit insane, and they got into a verbal and physical altercation, and now our brother can't go back to that house, but you know that took him by surprise. So now he needs to raise the money to find someplace else to live. And I donated to that.
Okay.
Because that's a completely unexpected thing. But I remember I've recalled at least two people who are my Facebook friends who didn't ask me personally, but just asked all of their Facebook friends to donate to their down payment. So basically they wanted to buy a house, but they didn't have enough money for the down payment. So I'm like, sounds like you need to get a smaller house or wait until you can afford the down payment, because if you already at the very beginning of this process
Are having
issues and don't have enough money to make it happen, then this does not bode well for your ability to pay that mortgage.
Ooh, that mortgage is going to look a little crazy.
Every month. So, no. So I don't do none of that. All right.
Okay.
So my sister got out of the hospital, so she's home now. So
Yay.
she got home on.
Hi, sister. In case you're
on-
watching, I don't know if we said her name
she's-
before. Did we say her name?
Yeah, her name is Kendra.
Well, no, hey, Kendra.
I mean, you know that. But
I mean, I know
we
it, but
said it
yeah,
on the
okay.
show before. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So she got home and climbed them 4 flights of stairs, and I was like, all right. I mean, I went up with her, so you know.
Like, all right, girl, I'm staying here while you get to the top of the stairs. Just holler down.
No, I mean, I went up
Throw
with
a
her,
napkin
but
down.
I'm like, you need to. Yeah. So she'll be moving into the family house.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of shows to binge watch, did you watch Super Drags?
I did not watch. I tried to watch the first episode, but I wound up watching Dancing Queen, Alyssa Edwards. She has an 8-year episode, but I saw the, and I was like,
It's stupid as fuck.
yeah, like I was like,
But it's still it's still kind of funny. It's so when I was first watching it because Azamet came and stayed for the weekend. So he had that on and I was listening to it in the background and it seemed kind of funny, but I wasn't really watching it. So when I sat down to watch it, it was like, this isn't quite as funny as I thought it was. I mean, they're really trying hard. It was okay.
every stereotypical.
Have you ever? You've gone to a drag show, and the drag queen is just one non sequitur and one innuendo and pun and double entendre after another. Imagine an entire cartoon built around that.
Exactly.
Which can be kind of funny because sometimes, I mean, it's just some funny shit.
Right.
Because one of the drag queens is, one of the super drags is Shangela. And I think
Is it?
Yeah, the black one is Shangela. Well, that's Shangela's voice anyway.
Okay.
She's not playing Shangela. And RuPaul is in it, and Willem.
He's playing the one on the television screen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind
I
of.
thought they were Spanish names, but I don't know.
Well, no. So what it is apparently the show was produced like in Mexico or something, because like some of the subtitles are in Spanish or something.
I just
so
yeah,
it's just weird.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's something to do.
Yeah. But I did watch Dancing Queens. Dancing Queens was kind of good.
Okay.
It was a pretty decent show, but it was in the same vein as like the Dancing Dolls, whatever that show was called, Dancing Dolls. So it was the same thing because Alyssa has a dance studio in Texas, and so it was kind of a lot of that, but then talking about her family stuff as well. So it wasn't bad.
Cool. So my story of the week is this new Amazon headquarters. So it's going to be foolishness and fuckery. It's going to be a terrible thing, ultimately, but it's here now. Nothing we can do about it, so I'm going to ride the wave. So I need to get my certifications together. Because I don't know that I'm necessarily going to go to work for Amazon itself, but they said that the average job is going to start at $150,000. So this is not a fulfillment center that they're building. So this is, mid-level consultant kind of work. So I feel like not only are they're going to hire 25,000 people, some of which they're going to import, but I feel like a number of them, or a significant percentage, or if not most of them, will be from here. What that's going to do is create a drain of other people. So it's going to turn it into an employee's market.
Right.
Because people are going to be desperate. Well, not desperate, but they're going to be willing to pay more because there's going to be a shortage of qualified people. Also, I definitely need to move. I mean, I could stay in DC because people are going to want to do that, but I just don't want to stay in that neighborhood. I want to go ahead and move, get my house in PG County, because let me tell you how this is going to go down. First of all, they built it in Crystal City, which I didn't know. I thought it was going to be like out.
You would think that it would have been in Maryland because, again, you have a larger
It's
more
going
land,
to be
it
right
would be
across
cheaper.
the street, essentially right across the street from
Pentagon
National Airport, because they're literally building a bridge from the building that they're buying or having built. I think they're just taking over and adding on to some property that's already there and building a bridge directly to the airport. And they're calling it the Crystal Bridge or some shit like that. And so property value there is going to skyrocket.
Right.
So it's just going to be crazy. As that property skyrockets, people are going to be looking at, even more so than they do now, they're going to be looking at DC, which already has high rents, but where I live, that's really going to be a catalyst for change in that neighborhood.
Right, because
like faster change.
Because councilmen and congressmen and House and senators can't really afford to,
We'll get to that in a minute because that was foolishness.
Can't really afford to live.
You're looking at places like Montgomery County and especially PG County, where there's a pretty good infrastructure, but the property values are lower because, a lot of places still haven't fully recovered from the housing market. So those properties are going to go through the roof too. So I want to move and be in my house before that area becomes like a house now that I'm looking at. Houses that I'm looking at now are in the $350,000 to $500K range. I do not want to spend $500,000 on a house.
Your mortgage, honey. I don't even know what.
I'd much rather spend $350 to $400. But let's say I'm looking at $500. That even that house is $400,000 now. 3 years from now, that house is definitely going to be at least 600. As all of these people start to say, oh, well, if I live in PG County, then my commute isn't going to be
But so
incredible getting to, because, people aren't going to want to move all the way out to Gainesville and, Stafford and all that shit. They're going to, because a lot of those places are already saturated.
Gainesville, Maryland?
Gainesville, Virginia.
Oh, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to be in a position. I need to position myself professionally and financially to take care of that. The last thing I want to talk about is this foolishness where Congress people are saying that they can't afford the rent in D.C. Now, I will start by saying that the first person who started complaining about this was newly elected Senator, Congressperson Alexandria Ocasio. I can't remember what her hyphenated last name is. She's a freshman senator, freshman congressman who wasn't like a consultant or whatever. So I get that she's saying until she starts working, she don't really have the money to afford $2,500, $3,000 a month rent. And I get that for someone who's just starting out. But they were talking about other people who were saying they don't have, these are people who are already in Congress who were talking about they can't afford the expensive rents in D.C. And I'm like, but
Your average starting salary.
no, not average, the base.
There we go.
The base, Alexandra Ocasio, when she starts getting that paycheck annualized, it's going to be $175,000. So whatever that works out to every 2 weeks or every month when they get paid, that's how much she's going, that's the gross. So net is going to be something less than that.
Right.
But she's still going to be making more than enough. So I'm not faulting her for saying that, yeah, I mean, everybody doesn't come to Congress with a nest egg of, $30,000, $40,000 to live on until those checks start rolling in.
Right.
But once you get here, like people were talking about, they were sharing, these are our lawmakers talking about sharing an apartment with people. And, one senator was talking about he was living in someone's basement apartment. I was like, girl.
Before taxes, that is based on 24 pays. If it's every 2 weeks, before taxes, that is $72.91.
Yeah, so you just take
Every 2
2/3
weeks.
of that
Right. So
time, 0.67.
7. Again, that is $4,800.
What? That doesn't seem right because
You said 2/3, 0.67.
Wait a minute. 175,000 divided by 24
times. Did you say
Yeah, I just want to make sure the math was right.
the cap?
Well, I was just making sure because that doesn't. Because if you take that times 0.67,
$48.85 every 2 weeks.
right? But that just doesn't seem right because times 2.
$9,700 a month.
Yeah, so you should be good.
Let me explain something to you. My salary is nowhere near that, and even at half of that, as far as what the rent would be, you can make it. You just can't live in D.C. You got to move outside. Move outside of D.C.
No, you got to live in D.C. You can't be like, oh, I couldn't make this vote because the metro broke down. Because most of them live like close.
That's
by.
fine. Then take the metro runs out to PG. The metro runs out into Montgomery County. The metro runs out into, you know what I mean? It just depends.
Yeah,
you got to figure out how to
that
make
metro foolishness. They cutting off the fucking yellow line, and so my commute is going to be doubled. But anyway, my point is,
you make $170.
you girls need
get a fucking Uber account.
do
Lyft
better
account.
with your money because I'm just saying, if I lived in Bumblefuck, Iowa, and I came to visit my congressman, and he was like, yeah, I'm throwing, let me just drop, whatever, and you go to the basement of somebody else's house, I'm like,
well,
I'm not expecting you to floss and live, in, some mansion with solid gold, whatever, but at least have your own apartment, not somebody's basement on Capitol Hill.
So first off, I don't really see the whole point of coming to my house as a congressman or as a senator to my
But
place
I mean,
where
to
live.
me, it's just,
That's me.
maybe that's why I am where I am. But I just feel like, at a certain level, your surroundings need to reflect your income or your status. And if there's very few people who make the laws for this country. There's only 500 and I guess there's 100 senators and 400 and let's just say it's 450. I cannot remember exactly what the number is. There's less than 600 people total who make the laws for this country. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like you should live in a nice place. And to me, living in somebody's basement is.
But nice is relative too. It's relative to the person.
I guess.
I mean, you live in a nice
Yes.
neighborhood.
Yes, but I ain't living in somebody's basement. I'm also not a senator or a congressperson.
I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, well, I think we're saying the same thing.
We are.
But okay.
Any snooch. So let's get into this show.
A couple of things. First of all, American Horror Story is tonight, the season finale.
Garbage. I'm over it. I'm watching it because I've invested my time and energy to this thus far. You have been,
I am an American Horror Story fan, so
you almost like this Janet Jackson thing. It's this unearned sense of fabulousness based on what I don't know.
unearned sense of fabulousness. I'm going to need you all to remember those lines, remember those words. Please do.
I said
Unearned sense of fabulousness.
I mean, just like with Janet Jackson, y'all are giving giving this show
You said
all
it.
of this
Just like you just said.
shine.
You said it. You said what you said.
I
You said it.
did, and I'm not taking it back.
Okay, I get that.
I'm just
But I'm going to go
saying-
ahead and finish reporting on the rest of American Horror Story. That's what I'm going to do.
You please do
From
that.
this unearned sense of fabulousness.
Okay. I'm listening. I'm waiting. Did you like
So-
my shirt?
The question is, what is really going on?
Yes. What is going on?
What is really going on? And
What's
so
happening?
I come across this article that was actually online in Variety, as a matter of fact. And so there's some gossip that they were talking about how season 8 could possibly be paired with another season. Like it could be. The article was basically talking about how American Horror Story could change the face of television drama because it could have it because it's one of the first shows that has had just to use the same word as you, non-sequitur
Yes.
links to other shows and seasons for whatever reasons. And has also been a show that has had several unanswered or dangling strings or plots that are available that seem to tie into other seasons.
Yes.
So if that's the case, one of the options was to either A, link it to or extend it to another season so that this could have been the first part of the series and
Yeah.
season 9 could have been the second part because when seasons 8 and 9 were greenlit, they were greenlit at the same time with the
Right.
studios. So that's one thing. The second thing is that there could be several different ways how the story could end. A, it could be that what's her name? Mallory is going to go back in time and actually change the past, therefore changing the future. That's a possibility. It could also be
Which will be disappointing. Because then it means the entire emotional journey, everything that we went through, learning about these people is for nothing. That's lazy writing. If you do all of this and say, oh well, now we have this character who we've met Mallory before,
Right.
So Mallory
Yeah.
is not a new character. So now we're just suddenly establishing that she can go back in time and change the past because it's convenient to this plot.
Right.
Because there were times in other storylines where if she had that power or that power was known to be a thing in the universe in which this story exists, the ability to go back and change events in the past would have been helpful. So to me that is extremely lazy writing if that's what they do.
So that's an option. The other option is that what the hell is Coco really there for? Like
That
your
seems-
powers of being a gluten detector. It could be one of those things where she has hidden some other talent or some other power from Coco, and she could be the key to something else.
Yeah.
So because I've always wondered
That
why
might
the,
be
why
more.
the fuck
Now
are you
that
there?
will be interesting if that you figure out some clever way that even if she doesn't have any other power other than gluten detection, maybe Michael is
That is the
he has like
stupidest power
he
on
has-
the
but
planet.
Maybe Michael has the world's worst case of celiac disease.
Listen, Michael must be related to Zeus Onyx, who's all of a sudden is trying to become gluten free.
Leave Zeus alone.
Okay, all right, whatever. So anyway, that could be that as an option as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is there were all these different rumors about people showing back up into the set again.
But they were never.
They were rumors, so let me be clear. They were absolutely rumors. But I'm a little pissed off because I'm like, well, where the hell is Marie Laveau or Angela Bassett? Like, girl, how many did you usually show up and be something fabulous?
Also, a lot of things don't add up because what's the other black girl's name that became like Oprah?
She's now the
Right, but so the whole thing where she sold out the Coven and Michael killed all of them occurred only a year or so before the apocalypse.
Yes.
So that's not enough time because when that season started, her and her black gay son, which we've never talked about before. So who is he actually? Because maybe he always existed, but they established.
I think she may have just bought his way into the
But he was
the outpost.
But no, he said that he was her mother, and he had this whole frustration with her and everything that was written and acted out as if they had, this whole lifetime mother and gay son.
So that very well
history.
could have been the case. It also would have been something that didn't necessarily need to be talked about, just played off of the stereotypical gay son, not
that's
accepting
another
parent.
poorly written thing to me.
Well, I'm not-
because it seemed unnecessary. And
We're not
in
judging the
time,
writing of it.
I am.
Okay, well,
I am because I'm entertained. I mean,
but there do you,
so when I was even starting as early as like the 5th or 6th grade, we,
but if something's
read.
not integral to the plot, then does it really? But that's not really integral to the plot.
But then why do it though?
That doesn't.
But that doesn't make sense to do
It's
things.
just a
that
distraction. Stop being logical with it.
No.
It's entertainment.
No.
It is entertainment.
No. No.
Anyway, listen.
So it doesn't make
Listen,
sense
listen.
that in the year.
All I'm saying to y'all
that
is
because she was
tune in
established
tonight
to
to
be
see how the hell this is going to end. While Dominion is stuck on the fact that it doesn't make any sense to him. Tune in
the
tonight to
black
see how this is
woman
going
was
to end.
established to be like
La,
Oprah.
la, la,
She was
la,
supposed
la.
to be like this billionaire.
La, la, la.
And so she went from being a voodoo priestess to a billionaire in a year.
That's how she became. She made that deal with Papa Legba.
Off of a third, because what they said at the end of last week's episode is that
was with Papa Legba, I
your
think.
13 episode deal has been greenlit.
Right.
So you mean over the course of 13 episodes, she managed to make $1 billion and become an Oprah style star enough that she had $100 million to buy her way into this? Nah.
Well, if
It
you
doesn't
did,
make
if
any
your
sense.
13 episodes did that well, your payout for the next contract would actually be a lot bigger.
Not $1 billion.
Depending on what the ratings were like.
See, this is what happens when you believe in Janet Jackson. Anything is possible.
But she's alive,
Is she though?
and Ella's dead.
How dare I have
Don't you
half
spill my
of
good liquor.
I made sure
Don't you spill my good
I
liquor.
made sure the lid was.
Now, I loves me some Ella. And
I
that
have
Airmail
half
special
of mine.
Airmail special is everything.
It just doesn't. So much of what happened this season doesn't make sense and isn't tied together. And I mean, it's the nature of television that typically, you don't have an. Yes, in life, people die with things unfinished, but on a television show, you typically try to wrap things up, and they got a lot of things to wrap up or explain. And if they're going to do it like as a second season, that would be cute.
It could be.
And I mean, I think that would be a good thing. You say, yeah, we didn't get to all of this because this first season was the apocalypse, and the next season is after the apocalypse.
And it very well could be. So we'll have to see what goes on. But I'm definitely going to be tuned in as soon as I walk in the door after I get my wings and go sit down and watch.
Yeah, I got to get something to eat.
Yeah, because I'm going to call them as soon as we leave out of the studio. I'm going to go get some of this.
There is a Tony Luke's, the cheesesteak spot.
I don't think I've ever heard. Tony Luke's?
Well, there's one at the Pentagon. They make the best chicken cheesesteak. And when I eat that, I know that I'm not going to eat anything for a long time because, you sitting in the office like. Got a whole page full of the letter K.
It was like, K.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, okay.
All right, so Michelle Obama becoming.
Listen, did you get your? I downloaded my copy.
I haven't. I haven't downloaded it yet because I already bought my 2 books.
Okay.
For this month, but it's in my queue for next month.
So I haven't listened.
And she narrates her own audiobook,
yes.
which is good.
Yes.
I still feel like I'm going to download the audiobook because essentially I'm getting that for free because I paid the credits.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy the hard copy just because support the sister.
Well, but then the other part of that too is it's like God bless you in trying to find a hard copy because the pre-orders were off the chain, and that's this whole this book is actually poised to become the biggest selling book of 2018.
Yeah.
The pre-orders alone, on top of the fact that Oprah then made her the book club of the month,
right?
And then also she's just her book tour and everything. Actually, she's going to be in D.C. She's going to be this weekend.
Yes, but her book tour, the tickets were going for as much as $2,800. I'm like, I wish I would.
Listen.
I wish. I mean, listen, I love Michelle Obama. God knows I do.
Yeah,
but
and make your money the best way you
way
can. But I'm not paying $27. I'm not doing that.
That I would pay $27. I don't even. I mean,
Listen.
like, even if they said to me the tickets are $100, I'd be like,
I wasn't trying to pay $1,000 to see Janet and meet her. I was not
unless
going to do that.
50% of that is going to some sort of a charity. There is no way. Because between her and Barack, they got a $60 million advance for their 2 books. So there's no way that I would see why I would. Listen, get your coins, and it's sold out, but you won't see me in the audience. I'll be like, see if I can find that shit on YouTube, or I'll watch her interview on OWN Network or something, because there is no way I'm going to pay that much money to see her. Michelle, I love you, and like I say, get your coins, just not for me.
Are y'all gonna call in? Like we've been told y'all about
right.
Are anybody calling in?
240-719-2560.
Listen, Sean, call in. Like what the hell? I mean, what the hell?
Right.
Sean, Michael, call in.
Call in.
Like what y'all doing? Like I mean, we gave y'all a number. Y'all gonna call in or what? What y'all doing? What y'all doing? We asked y'all to call in.
Tell Kai to call in, and he can ask me directly what I'm sipping on.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on. Like, we could tell you. Like,
right, sipping on some scissor.
240-719-2560. Make it happen. Like, come on now.
877-9311. I mean, really.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
Right. So 2750, never. Not as long as.
But she'll be here Saturday, and I'm wondering how that's going to work at the Verizon Center because some friends of mine had got tickets, and she was like, "Oh, I paid like $200 for my tickets," and I was like, "Well, good for you."
Even $200, I'm like,
you listen.
That would be like a birthday treat, and I need to get my dick sucked for it or something.
I am not. I won't pay that for Janet. I've paid $175, but I'm not paying $250.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
No. I'm saying I'm surprised you wouldn't have paid more. I don't mean that as a shade at all.
Because
I feel like for a concert, maybe $300 or something doesn't seem unreasonable for a concert.
So listen, I my whole thing is like there's on one of her tours, it was the number ones, the up close and personal. Mm-hmm. There was this package where you would pay like $1,000 or whatever. You could have got backstage to actually meet her. Mm-hmm. I'm not paying $1,000. Like I'm not gonna do that. Like, no, girl, I'm not gonna do that. That's not. I'm sorry. Like, girl, Janet, I love you. Like, I really do. Like, I do. I even found my scrapbook that has the pictures of you that I cut out of Teen Beat and all the other magazines that have the pictures of that. I really have that.
Okay.
And you were so straight. But anyway, but I'm not paying that. I wasn't doing that. No. And in fact, actually, after that concert, I got to meet both your dancers, Gil being one of them, and also the redhead. I can't remember her name right now. But listen, so no, I'm getting closer to
Listen.
you, girl. I'm going to bump into you somewhere, and when I do, I'm going to bump. Listen, I'm probably going to pass out because I'm not going to have anything to say. But I'm getting closer. I sound like a stalker, though, don't I?
You do.
I do sound like very stalkerish, but
You sound like Jack when he was in the bushes that time. We're looking for
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
But anyway, so
Because I still remember, I mean, I grew up in this area. People who grew up in this area remember the Cap Center. The first concert I ever, well, we're not counting the concert, I had to take my sister to see the Jets. Not,
I found out I got a crush on you.
yeah. So, but the first concert I ever went to for myself, they used to call them the show because, you know, it was Dougie Fresh, Mary J. Blige, Heavy D and the Boys, a couple of go-go bands. I mean, it was like 8 or 10 acts. It was like a 6-hour concert. I'm serious. You got there like 7 o'clock
What's up, Cardinal?
in the evening and didn't leave till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And for all of those people, it was like $40. This was in the 80s.
yeah.
And now, you know, just to see Mary J. Blige, I'm sure it's at least $100.
Listen, you know I loves me some Mary. Let me just be clear. I loves me some Mary, but I'm not. And listen, face be beat all the time, hair be done. Listen, she wears a nice little boot. Now she can't walk in them because them knees is crooked, and she can't dance in them. So she's dancing like somebody's old, elderly, crippled aunt who put their walker down and they can't find it. They trying to tiptoe to find the walker to go pick it up after they had some drinks. That's how she walk. And then you
Yes.
put music to it. That's how she dance. But I'm not paying that much money to see Mary. Like I love
You
her.
are mean.
I have a. She is. You know, that's my girl in my head. Like that. She reminds me of my sister. My sister's birthday is the same date, January 11th. You know, listen. I get it, but girl, I'm not paying that much money to see you. Like I'm not doing that. But I love you. I do. I do. I love you. I'm glad you got your star on the Walk of Fame. I love you.
Right.
You can call in too, 240-719-2560. You can.
Yo, this is Mary. So midterm elections.
So, okay. So the reason why I brought this up is because I wanted people to understand what the demographics were on this last election. And people always talk about how their vote doesn't make a difference. And how, you know, there was a white male agenda, if you will. According to these statistics that were pulled up from the Pew Research Org website, there was a gender, race, and educational divides where, between gender, you had 47% of men that voted Democrat and 59% of women that voted Democrat. And these were the larger percentages of between voting Democrat versus Republican. Now, as far as the race between white, black, Hispanic, and Asian, 44% of whites voted Democrat, whereas 54% voted Republican. Okay. But 90% of the black vote was Democratic, 69% of the Hispanic vote was Democratic, and 77% of the Asian vote was Democratic. Listen, we make a difference.
Yeah.
All of us that are part of this community, everything that is under that whole POC, we make a difference. And so I need you all to realize that every single time that you say that it doesn't matter, you are lying to yourself and you're lying to others, because it does make a difference.
You know, I think I said this before, but the biggest indication of how important your vote is how desperate these white men are to take it away from you.
Listen.
If your vote didn't count, then Chris Kobach, who was the Republican gubernatorial candidate in Kansas, wouldn't have built his whole career on trying to disenfranchise black voters. Ben or Kemp, whoever the guy's name is that's running for governor in Georgia, wouldn't have spent the last 6 months in his position as I think it's Secretary of State or Director of Elections or whatever it's called, trying to disenfranchise black voters. If those things were not important, then they wouldn't have been trying so hard to take away that vote, because they understand where history is going.
And history, the whole thing is the population and the demographics of this country are actually changing. Latino
Right.
voters, let me tell you something. You guys showed up and showed out in record numbers.
Yeah, and even if you don't do anything else, white European Americans are just not being born at a high enough rate to replace the population and maintain that majority. People of color, especially blacks and Hispanics, are populating faster.
Yes. And also, interestingly enough, in the House, the House has changed.
Yeah.
And the makeup of the House has changed.
Yeah.
It has gone from predominantly white male to actually female.
Well, it's still mostly white male, I think.
Well,
But the percentage has gone down.
percentage has
significantly.
gone down, but the people that have replaced them, there are so many different females that are coming
And
into the White House, into the
also,
House.
there were so many younger people elected that the average
Listen.
age of this Congress is 10 years younger than Congress's past, which is good.
Listen, record numbers for Latinos, that 2.2 million people that actually registered to actually vote. It was an 8.4 increase over 2016. So again, please, please, please understand that every single vote counts.
Oh, and I found out I was wrong about something. Last week, we were talking about Maxine and Trump's taxes and how he could fight it. Come to find out, he can't because Congress doesn't. If they wanted your taxes, they don't ask you for your taxes. They go to the IRS, and the IRS is compelled to give them
you the
over.
taxes. Okay.
So when I was like, oh well, there's going to be this fight over Trump's taxes, there is no fight. Because on January 1, Maxine Waters, as the chair of the Finance Committee, can write to the head of the IRS and say, I would like to have copies of the tax returns of Donald J. Trump for the past X number of years, and they are required to turn them over. So they don't have to ask him about nothing. He can't get involved in that process. He can't say, you can't have access to any of that. There's none of that.
Listen, there was a meme I just saw the other day
Oh,
about
he's
Maxine
looking
about
through
at
the
the door.
window.
Yes.
Donald Trump is
And
knocking
Maxine
on the
is there.
door, and she's looking through the peephole.
She's like,
this.
hey,
Hey.
because she's coming.
She's coming,
She's
and
coming.
she gives zero fucks.
She's coming. Listen, I'm here for it. But anyway, that was just one of the things I wanted to bring up as well about the importance of actually voting and how the demographics are actually changing.
Another thing I wanted to add is, initially I was a little skeptical about what could be accomplished in this Congress, but even though the Senate maintain under Republican control, you got to think that, remember, over the past decade, the Republicans spent an inordinate amount of time gerrymandering these districts to sort of give themselves a permanent majority. And even with that, Democrats won and flipped seats in some of these gerrymandered districts. So, for those of you who do not understand how a bill becomes law, it has to be passed in the House.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Then it has to be passed in the Senate.
Schoolhouse Rock.
Typically, what happens is that they come up with a version of a bill in the House and they come up with a version of the bill in the Senate. Then they go to a conference committee where they come up with like a compromise bill, and then they move it forward. Well, because now a lot of these districts are not red or blue, they're purple. The Republican senators, because your congressman might be Democratic, but your senator might still be Republican.
Right.
But because your senator cannot now just be like, oh, I don't have to listen to these Democrats. Now, if your state is purple, you have to listen to these people. So things like affordable health care, automatic voter registration at the age of 18, which to me just seems like a no-brainer. if you believe in, everyone's right to vote. So, this is a great
Democracy.
thing. And we're continuing to hear, there was the big blue wave on
It wasn't really
Tuesday.
a big blue wave. It was.
The big blue wave is not just. I'm talking about nationwide.
Well,
So
yeah.
there was enough of blue wave to flip the
Yes.
house, and then we're continuing to hear. There were a number of races that were too close to call, both the House and the Senate. Yesterday, Kirsten Sinema
Yes,
won her
Arizona.
Democratic
That was
Senate
Arizona,
race.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she'll be the first openly bisexual person openly.
I'm going to quote something from
Openly.
Sex in the City. Bisexuality is a stopover into gay land, but that's
Yes.
Carrie's character. But
Right.
I'm just
but,
saying, I find that
so
hilarious.
we were continuing to, by drips and drabs, there was another congressperson in New Jersey who, when all of the votes were counted, he defeated his Republican congressional opponent. So,
Let's not forget, we are still trying to figure out what's going on with the Florida.
with Florida.
and
Well, we're
Georgia.
still figuring out in Georgia. We're still figuring out the Senate gubernatorial. The gubernatorial race. In Florida, we're figuring out both the gubernatorial race as well as the Senate race.
Yes. So we just got to see. We should know by tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I think was it Thursday?
I'll-
They were supposed to.
No,
let us know?
that was it. Florida, I think, was one of those places they extended the deadline to vote.
I thought it was
Not
okay.
vote, but count the votes.
Count the votes. Okay, but that's fine. But listen, every single vote counts.
Every single vote counts,
Please.
and every
Listen, let's not just let this election or one election feel like people feel like one election is more important than the other. All of them.
every
are important.
election is critically
All of them are
important,
important.
and each one is important because the issues that you face this country faces continues to change.
Yes.
And you can't be like, oh well, you said this last election was important. Yeah, it was.
It was, and
As
it
is
still
this
is.
one.
Yeah.
As is the
Listen,
election every 2 years.
Pay attention to your officials and what they're doing, because a lot of them are trying to rise up through the ranks, and these are the officials that are going to actually start pushing the policies and pushing the laws and pushing the bills to
Right.
go through that become law and that become federal, that become national.
And
so,
there are opportunities for you, for those who say, well, voting doesn't count. Well, why you feel like your vote doesn't count is because you don't get involved in the process. Because because Congress people, just a little bit, but this isn't my favorite.
no, but it's not. But I have a buzz.
It is because it's a little stronger.
God.
Because Congress people run every 2 years, they're always back in their district holding meetings. Go to those meetings. Cut up. Well, don't cut up because some of you girls will not act. But go and make your voice heard. Your congressperson needs to know what it is that you believe in.
Yeah.
You can't, you have to do more than just, expressing your frustration on Facebook. Get involved in the political process on the local level. Your state has a legislature. There are representatives that, you have influence on. And a lot of those statewide and local races, at the county level and the city level have a lot more impact on your life on a day-to-day basis than, what's happening. You think about this whole thing with Amazon. The politicians in New York State negotiated that without any input from, this is in New York City where this thing is going to be, but they completely excluded the New York City Council from this, the New York State Legislature from this. So this really was a deal that de Blasio and Cuomo worked. And they say, oh, it's going to help the city. Most of the people, those jobs, they say they're going to start out at $150,000. No shade to anybody that lives in Long Island City,
Hey, Kendra.
in Queens. Is that Kendra?
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. Hey.
Hey, Kendra.
Most of those people that live in Long Island City aren't people that make $150,000. So how is that headquarters ultimately going to affect them? You say, oh, well, yeah, tertiary businesses. But, yeah, okay, so you're going to open more Starbucks. But that's not a long-term path to viability. You know, when you and I were growing up, a job at Starbucks or McDonald's was a cute little entry job.
Yeah.
You know, now it's people that have worked at McDonald's for like 10, 15 years.
And they trying to retire.
Right. How you going to retire on McDonald's? I mean, there ain't but so many manager positions. I mean, ain't so many fries that need to be made. Anywho. All right, let's wrap this shit
We
up.
did not have to bring that down to those. I'm just, okay.
How many jobs are there at McDonald's? You the
Listen.
cashier, you work the fries, or you make the burgers. I mean, it ain't but so, you know, clearly ain't nobody working the shake machine because the shake machine is always fucking broke.
Let me tell you something, how I'm so upset about that damn. I go to get my damn milkshake. Oh my
Can I
God.
you listen, that one time when
It's
I'm
not
like,
working.
my blood sugar numbers are good, so I was like, I'm gonna get a McFlurry. The McFlurry machine is broken.
Sorry,
well, bitch,
sir.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Listen.
so let's wrap it up.
Walking Dead, please check it out. I'm already sucked into that. That's just my own thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
I
here
don't
for
deal
it.
with zombies. I don't fuck with none of that.
It's really not even about the zombies.
That's
are like
voodoo. I don't fuck with none of that.
the zombies are really not even integral to the story, but they are in the sense that they force them to make the decisions about certain things. But again, it's about the interaction of the people and the stuff that's going on. So, but yeah, that's on my list for right now. What else was I going to say? Oh, so Jill Scott. Did you all see the Jill Scott thing?
Listen, the way you kids carry on about Jill Scott's, clearly you all are basic as fuck. Because so she pretended, she mimed out sucking dick on a microphone, but okay. First of all, y'all clearly have never listened to Jill Scott's lyrics, for one. And two, she's a grown-ass woman who simulated dick sucking on stage, and the way you kids are carrying on, I'm like, well, y'all are basic. Because I saw it, I was like, okay, that's cute, but why are you getting so excited about it? What do you think?
Listen,
I mean, it was cute, but
Jill, get your life, girl.
Right.
I mean, I'm here for it. If you
I
want
need y'all to get y'all life
yeah,
and stop
get your life,
being
Jill,
so-
and like let it. And you know, I think her response was like, "What's the big deal?" She's like, "I simulate lots of things on stage."
Right,
all
listen
the
to
time."
her lyrics.
And the lyrics are like, "Listen, getting in the." She simulates fight because getting in the way,
Right.
which is still one of my favorites. But yeah,
Sister
there's a
Honey
lot.
Girl,
I need you. To,
I don't think you don't understand.
you have to understand. He's my man now.
Right.
What you had is gone.
Right.
I think it's sweet. I think
Queen shouldn't swing.
but you know what I mean.
But I'm about to take my earrings off and get me some Vaseline.
Like she's really trying to get into all that.
Right.
So anyway,
Outro.
it's good. But anyway, so the BGK8 show streams live on Wednesdays on VoxWave.com from 9:15 to 10:15 p.m. Eastern and 6:15 to 7:15 p.m. Pacific. Episodes are available on YouTube every Friday. Search for Vox Power 373 and look for the BGK8 show with Dominion and Epic. We currently have spaces in the studio where people can actually come and participate in the live studio audience. Today we didn't have anybody. We had our producer, we had coats, and we had a bag. So that's what we had tonight. So,
And you can call in.
right, you can call in 240-719-2560, but nobody called in. But
Right.
listen, I'm going to need y'all to call in. So Kendra, Sean, Michael, Martin, I'm going to need y'all to call in. Okay, but anyway. So if you're trying to reach me on Facebook, you can reach me on Epic Onyx, or you can find me at Epic Onyx on Facebook. You can also reach me at Epic Onyx1 on Twitter, and you can also reach me or find me on Instagram at I am Epic Onyx. So Dominion, where can they reach you at?
You can reach me by trailways. You can reach me on an airplane. You can reach me if you can. Anyway, so you can reach me on Twitter. You can reach me at Dom Onyx on Twitter and Instagram. My Facebook is facebook.com/DomOnyx. And you can reach me on my website, which is www.domonyx.com, where you can read my archived column at the moment, Dominion's Opinions, and get information on my book, Alexander Alonso, which will ultimately one day feature a silver-haired glory hole attendant.
I can work with that. I can work with that. I can definitely work with that. Like, here's your towel, here's your key, you're in room number 34.
You need some lube.
We have lube, we
Lube
have lip
packets.
stickers, or flip-flops and
towels.
towels and everything else.
I
Please
was
bring
thinking about
your...
going to communion this weekend. It's on Saturday night. after the
Something
DC.
else is going on Saturday. Something. Oh well, the book downtown, the book stuff for.
But that's all. Michelle Obama ain't gonna be near the crew club. Michelle Obama was walked into the crew club like, "Hello."
Like, give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Give me 5
Right.
minutes. I need to finish this off.
Anyway, right.
But
Anyway, kids, thank you all for coming out.
Thank
God
you all for
bless
coming.
you and
Good
good night.
night.
So next week, we're going to have our Thanksgiving show. So we're going to talk about our favorite Thanksgiving foods and what we're going to do for Thanksgiving. Because
You know what?
I plan to go to New York City and carry.
I'm really going to talk about some old Thanksgiving things that happened at Thanksgiving with the family that were just out of control.
You know what? Well, anyway, we'll
I've
talk
had a
about it
couple of
next
those
week.
stories. But anyway, thank you all. Have a good night. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.